Chat with Chondee. I'm Chondee, and today I'm joined by my mom,
Linda Wiggins.
In my childhood home where my parents still stay. So I'm glad you agreed to do this video today with me.
Anytime.
So I have a couple of questions that I'd like to ask my mom, and what better way than to capture it than to put it out there for the world to see, because she's just hilarious to me, so I figured I'd share her with everybody. So as we were getting started, somebody mentioned the phrase cut it, and you started doing what?
You got to cut it.
So you can see why I would definitely want to share her with the world. So I do have a few notes, so you may be seeing me look over at those, of questions that I'd like to ask her. So let's start off with, what year were you born?
I am just appalled. I don't want to tell that.
Okay, so 1948 was the year. In 1948, so let's say, okay, when you were about 10 years old, there was still like a lot of the civil rights movement going on and segregation and things like that. So let's start there. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
In 1958, since you told my age, I was 10. And I wasn't really aware of it except for the fact that there were some places we couldn't go and some things we couldn't do. But it really didn't bother me that much at 10 years of age.
Did you realize that there wasn't something about that wasn't right, or what was the conversation about that in your home?
Well, we didn't really have much conversation about it. I went to a Catholic school and there were white teachers there, so I was used to being around white people, so it didn't really matter. We were just told that certain bathrooms we couldn't go to and certain water fountains we couldn't drink out of, and we had to sit in certain places.
Do you remember how that made you feel?
Well,
did it make you feel less than, or?
I wondered why it was like that, because I always thought of myself as being special, and I don't know why I had to be sitting in the back or standing up on the bus, but it didn't really hit me until I got into my teens.
Okay, so that kind of just brought us in. So to your teens, I did want to touch on that a little bit, and maybe, not touch on so much heaviness since we hit that right away. But what were things that you liked to do when you were a teen, as far as hanging out or music that you listened to, since you like to cut it now?
Well, I like listening to the Supremes, Mary Wells, and Sam Cooke, and I like music. I didn't get to go out much.
Why was that?
My dad just didn't think I needed to socialize with boys.
So it was just the boys. You could go socialize with the girls.
Yeah, depending on where we were going.
How did that make you feel?
I just felt horrible because all the other people around me were doing things like that.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know growing up, for those of you who don't know, who of course none of you know at this point, but she's the only child. So as an only child and being in such close proximity with your first cousins being your neighbors, were they going out and socializing?
Yes, they were. But I couldn't.
So you just sat in the house?
I had to be 16 before I could have a boy come to the house.
Mm-hmm. Who do you remember the first one that came over?
I don't want to talk about that.
Why not? This is a safe space. I won't tell if you don't.
Yeah, but I won't know who see it, and I don't want to tell that.
Okay. We'll move on from that. What were some of the books that you liked to read, or were you a big reader back then?
I was a big reader back then because that was about the only thing I was allowed to do. So I read everything. I picked up everything I could get my hand on, and I read it.
What was your favorite book?
I don't know that I had a favorite book. I was into romance novels. I was into poetry and comedy.
Did you ever write your own poetry?
No, I didn't. I wrote a poem when I got to college because it was required.
What college did you attend?
I attended Morris Brown College in Atlanta, Georgia.
How was that experience? HBCU and living on campus and being away from my granddaddy that wasn't letting you do anything. How was that?
That was a great experience. I enjoyed it. Now I almost flunked out because
Uh-oh.
when they killed Dr. Martin Luther King, I had to come home.
Why?
My dad didn't want me in that. He thought something would happen, so he come and got me.
Oh, wow. And what did you think about that?
Well, I like excitement. I did like the fact that they had killed Dr. King, but I wanted to stay there because I enjoyed my college life. I met some good friends, and I learned a lot from them, and I got to do a lot with them.
What did you get your degree in?
I had a BA degree in French.
Could we hear some of that French now?
No, you cannot.
Why ever would we not be able to hear it?
I have not spoken French nor Spanish since 1971.
So you mean to tell me you got your bachelor's, you majored in French, and now you can't speak any? What did you want to do with that degree?
I didn't want to do anything. I, in fact, didn't want that degree. The only reason I graduated in 1966, and I went home and I did nothing for a complete year.
So you took a gap, you had a gap year?
Yes, and I would have had more if it had not been for my dad's brother and Mr. Lester Mason. They said, that girl needs to do something. So Mr. Mason filled out an application for me. He went to Morris Brown, and that's how I got to Morris Brown.
Oh, wow. Well, hey, good thing for Uncle Bruh and for Mr. Mason, because I'm glad you went and had that experience. Where was Grandma in all of this when Granddaddy was keeping you in the house and sheltered and coming back up the road to get you? What was she doing in all of that, or how did she feel about that?
She was right there.
Yeah, I mean, but
she didn't do anything.
She was just letting it happen.
Right.
Okay. What do you think is the hardest thing that you've had to deal with as a parent?
Well, I had a son when I was 25. Then I had a daughter when I was 35. And it was just explosive.
Because of the difference in age of the children, or the fact that you were older?
Well, the fact that I was older, and at 25 I thought I was through with children. And then up popped this little girl, and she has been an explosion after explosion after explosion. And she still is.
Okay. What would you say is some advice that you would give to young people today?
I would like for young people today to be more respectful of everybody, not just their elders, but their sisters and brothers and classmates and friends. There's not enough respect of the other person, and I'd like to see more of that, and to have more initiative to do things that would benefit them in the long run.
Awesome. What do you want to leave as your legacy? Or what do you think your legacy will be?
That if I loved you, I would let you know it.
All right, now I like that. Now this video, I'll be uploading to YouTube. Do you know what YouTube is?
I've heard of it, and that's about it.
What about Snapchat? Are you familiar with Snapchat?
I've heard of Snapchat.
Instagram?
Instagram.
Do you know what you do on these platforms?
I don't do anything on those platforms.
Would you say that Facebook is your favorite form of social media?
Facebook is my introduction to things that are going on in the world, because I wouldn't know a lot of these things were happening if I was not exposed to Facebook. And some of the things just get by me.
I know, because when something happens on Facebook, I get a phone call or a text, and at first I'm like, what is this about? And then I'm like, Facebook. She's on Facebook again. Well, I have definitely learned some things that even I didn't know today, and I definitely thank you again, Mommy, for being my first guest and being on Chat with Chondee.
Love you.
I love you. Thank you guys for joining.